Let's do it once a week.
So.
Or you could just practice using the owl at all of your staff meetings.
Download it.
That would be well.
And you really get practice.
They make everybody watch. And do this. That solves the echo.
But this is, so,
To the cloud, and then it
Cloud.
goes on to, and then it goes on to. And then it goes on to YouTube afterwards.
Yes.
So we're all live now, everyone.
so someone who wants to participate in the live stream,
They can.
member of the public, they log on to Zoom or they log on to, to
If they want to have their
YouTube.
voice heard, they log on to the Zoom. If they want to watch passively, they will.
But, so YouTube is doing it in real time?
Yes.
I had to loading this,
It's both.
and then it was gonna download to YouTube.
It does, it goes
Or
live on
transfer.
YouTube, and then
Okay,
when we do them tomorrow, when I upload the draft minutes or whatever, we get the draft minutes, then I post the recording onto YouTube as well, so.
but they don't have to wait. If they wanna watch live, they can.
They can.
Okay,
They can watch live. they
That's
can
what they're supposed to
participate,
do.
Or they can watch retroactively after the fact. And I
Alright.
love technology, everyone.
on our agendas,
Yes.
we have only the Zoom link.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody wanted, they would have to know to go to our YouTube and look for our channel, and they would get the live feed there,
Yeah, there's the link to the live feeds on the website.
and that takes them to YouTube.
Yes. You can go on the
Whereas
website.
this will take them to Zoom.
Right.
Okay,
So that's for the engagement. YouTube is if you want to watch passively. And to all of our people in the audience, I hope you're enjoying this dialogue. All right.
I'm like,
Does anyone
saying-
not have an agenda? Agendas.
I'll
Yeah.
take one.
Cool. Also, I have,
Will, let me officially, at 5:40 convene the meeting. You passing out stuff?
yeah, just a minute from the last one, if you want to. Copy.
I've seen- I've
I tried to limit our tree damage, so I didn't print a ton of copies. And they're also, they're in Tanya's lovely folder. Yes, thank you. Wonder. Okay.
All right, our first order of business is roll call. Maybe we can just start with Jackie and go around clockwise.
Jackie Riley, business manager.
Well, Tracy, director.
Under orders, vice chair,
Oh, I forgot.
right? Assistant chair, what is it?
Vice Chair.
Vice chair.
Yeah.
Ally Hennigan, staff rep.
Erin Fitzgerald, DC member, meeting member.
Jim McIntosh, secretary.
Harry Brown, Chair, and by Zoom.
Alexandra Kager by Zoom.
Thanks, Alex. Next item of business is reading the mission and vision, and I would like to both welcome Erin Fitzgerald, our newest member, to her first meeting as a member, and ask her to read the mission and vision for us.
At Aldo Leopold Charter School, the human and natural environments serve as text and lab for learning through direct experience, inquiry, and stewardship. The vision: Aldo Leopold Charter School graduates will use the skills, perspectives, and information that they gain at school to enhance their own lives and to advance social, economic, and environmental sustainability.
Thank you, Erin. Agenda review. Y'all can take a look. If anyone has changes they would like to make, well, let me know. Seeing generally complacent faces.
When do I do my report?
Yeah, I was gonna
Is that
say.
Public comment?
Oh,
No, staff report's
staff
missing.
report's missing.
We should add staff report. Can you come can we put you before business manager?
Yes.
Sorry about that. How do we do 1/2 in Roman numerals? I'm not sure they had fractions. I'm gonna do I over I.
Excellent.
Hey, anything else that I should have noted? In that case, I'd accept a
There's
motion.
no
to-
student council, there's no student report either, but it doesn't look like there's a student there.
They
That's-
haven't gone through their elections yet, so they only have a president and a vice president, I think, so when we had full members, we'll figure out who's attending what.
Thanks, Alex. Good catch. Any other good catches? In that case, motion would be in order.
I move to approve the agenda as is, or with the addition of the staff.
Thank you, Tony.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Aaron. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Aye.
Okay, on to public comment, which I believe there's none. And then on to the staff report.
Right.
5 I over I up.
Did we skip minutes?
We didn't review the minutes.
Thank you.
This is a
So many good
shambolic,
catches.
a shambolic meeting.
You know, today was actually fairly intense all-day workday for me. So my brain's as you will hear in the finance committee.
Okay. Was a meeting for.
We have minutes. Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Has anybody any changes or questions about the minutes? I'm reminding myself. As I recall, these had to be turned around very quickly, which I greatly appreciate.
Sure. It's a habit that I am going to keep once again because I'm leaving another trip to. Well, no, it's a memorial service, but. So you'll have it by Wednesday.
Cool. Okay, I'm sorry for the
Don't
reading.
count on it as something that will be reproduced in the minutes.
Any comments, questions about the minutes? I'll move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Tanya. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Now we can skip public comment. And now we can go on to staff report.
All right, so, the first week of school, as everyone familiar with school knows, is a little different than normal schools. And every year it seems like we do things a little bit differently, and it went very well this year, so, middle school did essentially a regular schedule, but during their elective time, they did kind of norm building and activities. They're not doing mini villages anymore. And high school did kind of a hybrid backpack-based camp with a mini trip where they like packed up a backpack and like hiked out to a spot at Little Walnut and like set up their tents and ate lunch and then packed everything back up and hiked back out. And yeah, feedback from students and staff has been really positive. There will be further tweaking for next year, but I think that format of sort of stretching it out a little bit and mixing it up with some on-campus activities and some time to get to know the classroom teachers helped. Also gave Mark a little bit more time to know what the medical concerns were for students before we had them out in the field. And for us to get to know student behaviors and things like that.
That was a one day, that day of setting up tents and that was in one day.
Yes, yeah, so it was like Friday, we had an orientation where they had a mini schedule, got their teachers, and then the afternoon was kind of the normal orientation PowerPoint, let's talk about what all this is all about. Monday was on campus again, did exactly what we did, but lots of stuff. Tuesday and Wednesday were out at Little Walnut, but we ended up coming back early because of the heat, and then did some activities on campus, and again, I think the students really appreciated that attention to the environment, very hot week. And then this week has been, you know, a normal week, whatever that means at all though, and also seems to be going pretty well.
Good.
Let's see, I guess like just some kind of general updates, and maybe you guys already know about, but you know, with Fiona retiring, Jennifer has taken over the middle school 504 program, and she and I have been working together on that to make sure that there's coherence from middle school to high school, and that she feels adequately supported in that, so I'm working with her. Something I'm supposed to report on as a strategic plan goal manager
Yes.
is our mentoring program, which it exists, it's in the handbook, the mentoring plan. I assume that handbook was approved sometime over the summer.
We approved it with the wireless communication policy pending.
Okay, okay. And essentially the plan around mentoring was that we'd focus on first year teachers, but we do not have any first year teachers this year. So last year I was working with Molly quite a bit. We just had a weekly check-in and she knows that I'm still available if she needs anything. And similarly, Julia and Joshua, who were not new teachers, but were new to Aldo last year, had some level of mentoring and support from me, mostly just sort of checking in on their classrooms, checking in with them. I still check in with them more socially now, just to say, hey, how are things going? Do you need anything? But not an official mentor for anybody this year.
So that is a different mentor program than the Ed Fellows program. Is that right?
Correct. I am not really part of that.
Okay.
That is something that they do at Western, and I don't know, we were just talking about this, that
Yeah.
maybe Pat is
Yeah.
Antoinette's official mentor.
Antoine is our only Ed Fellows member currently. We did try to get Carmen into it and they're open to it, but they have not approved that yet.
And is Sean doing a different program?
Yeah, Sean is doing his own thing, not part of Ed Fellows.
Okay.
And Pat is Antoinette's mentor.
Hmm.
That's all through Ed Fellows, and you can chat with Amber, the Ed Fellows lady, if you want to hear more about that.
Thanks.
Pays for the teacher.
Right. And the mentor, which is why it
That's why it's a little bit more.
was in my head.
Correct, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
right, yeah.
And just for clarification, is Stravalos the head of special education?
Yep,
Okay, director of special. Great.
Good. Yeah, there's another change this year.
Yeah.
There's not a few things that got shifted this year.
Can I ask like one thing about the mentoring program? So when we're talking about the mentoring program at Aldo, and you were saying you didn't have any mentees at the moment, is the mentoring program meant to be just you as the mentor, or is there meant to be like your building mentors for future?
That is a good question. The idea is that anyone, generally a level 2 or level 3 teacher, according to the mentoring plan, can be a mentor, and that it would be a match based on fit. And so it just so happened that last year Molly was teaching environmental science, which is not her background, and my background is science, so that's why I was supporting her. She's not actually teaching that this year, so she's teaching social studies, which is her background. And so, yeah, I do have a tendency to check in on the science teachers more. That's my background, but I know a lot. But in theory, anybody could be partnered up. Our level 3 teachers, besides me, Allison, Maya,
Serena.
Serena.
Hmm.
Am I missing somebody?
Pat.
Pat, yeah. I guess he also has so many other hats, but yeah. So probably the first people that would get called on to mentor, but not the only people. Good, okay. That's a good question. And yeah, if you want to look at the mentoring plan, like I said, it should be in the handbook. I also am happy to share it with you. Another thing that is not exactly new, but something we're doing a little differently, although starting last year, was the vector trainings to make sure that we are compliant with all the mandated trainings for teachers. So everything from bloodborne pathogen training, professional boundaries, there's something on like cybersecurity, don't open suspicious emails, that kind of thing. So yeah, we have been participating in that. I believe that is through POPs.
It's not through Palms, it's through the PED. You
Oh.
can do their Canvas training options or the vector options for your.
And we
do
have
on
a
your
little
own.
bit of both,
We do have
because there were a
both.
couple of things that were not on vector that were on.
Right, like I think the required racial sensitivity training is Canvas
Yes.
only, but then most of the stuff is on vector. And because, and this is great to say here, the PD requires 60 hours of training and they only include 30 hours into the schedule for the training. And so this allows us to meet the need without adding days onto the calendar, some sort of clunky fashion. Facial expressions are.
Thanks for figuring that out.
Yes.
That's substantial
Yeah.
training, 60 hours.
60 hours.
That's a work we can have.
Well, and that can look like, like our special ed team went for specific training last year, that's like 3 or 4 days, wasn't it, Jackie? In the
Yes.
spring, they were gone a long time, so that can be, it can be very specific to whatever their.
That's the restraint training.
Yeah, they
It
were
wasn't
gone,
just CPI, was it?
It was CPI.
Legal, it's like,
I think they went to 2, but it was like an all-day thing where quite a bit of them went, right?
Joshua and I this year are doing a STEM kind of like leadership professional development with PED. And so, yeah, those kinds of things account for 60 hours, but some of it is at the teacher's discretion to pick.
That's what I was wondering, like 50% of that could be at the teacher's discretion, is that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say the vector trainings themselves only take a couple of hours.
Okay,
And then like this year, a lot of our teachers were due for CPR, so they did that online. They'll do an in-person test for that.
that sounds much more palatable to me, now I understand.
Yeah, it's very
That's better.
specific.
Yeah.
Like Nate has to do concussion training
Yeah,
for mountain
yeah.
biking.
Okay,
And I have to do different things. Everyone's got their own kind of thing, but they're all sort of baseline on like CPR and stuff like that.
So I'm just looking at things that were part of the strategic plan that were sort of in my purvey. Some of this is kind of from last year, but we are using illustrative mathematics as a school. I can confirm that middle school teachers are using it, especially as a parent of a middle schooler.
They've been using it longer,
Yeah.
right?
They have.
It was high school
They-
that adopted it later.
Yes, right. That just last year the high school started.
are they moving it through grade by grade or? is
Oh,
it
yeah,
all
good
at once?
question.
There was not a specific rollout plan. The idea was everybody got trained and everybody should be using it. And I think based on teacher comfort level with the instructional routines, there has been sort of different levels of engagement with the curriculum. But I'd say our middle school teachers are pretty committed to it and have been.
What is the type?
It's called illustrative mathematics, and so it's I mean, it's a lot like how some of our math teachers used to teach anyway. It's very hands-on and student-centered. It's a lot of having students kind of like work together in groups to figure out a math problem versus the teacher saying, this is how you solve this, or memorize this equation. It's a lot more like, how could we figure this out? There's a lot of, especially with geometry, there's a lot of like, sort of 3D modeling and things like that. Again, in 7th and 8th grade, they've done a lot of stuff with coordinate planes. But there's a more plot, yes.
Have we begun to measure this? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Al.
Ally, you said they're somewhat, is it optional for teachers whether to adopt this? Or you said some of them are using it, some of them are not. Like, what's the?
No, it's not optional.
There are only 2 math teachers now, right?
Mhm.
Matt and Avery in high school.
Is that correct that Avery's teaching now?
Yes, he
He
is.
did?
He
Okay.
did, yeah.
I know he was trying to get out.
Math.
Yes, yeah.
So it should be pretty easy to figure out if they're both using it.
I'm gonna volunteer to go, since Layla is in, my daughter is in 9th grade. I've already made contact with Avery to start going to the classroom usually I just do number talks with with whatever grade my kid is in. So, yes, I know Avery definitely is teaching Algebra 1. And
Within the illustrative,
that I don't know
approach?
yet, because I haven't been in the classroom.
is it an algebra, geometry, algebra
They
progression?
actually offer both an integrated sequence or a whatever content specific
AGA.
sequence, and I actually not positive which one the high school teachers chose. Do you happen to know, Jackie, based on what we paid for?
Oh, no.
This has been a topic of great interest in my 14 years at the school and the last 2 years talking about our math program. And my question is, how are we measuring improvement or change? Because that was, I mean, none of the methods are satisfactory to me, but something's better than nothing usually. How are we showing improvement?
Well, you'll notice, the Party Finance Committee, if you've been talking about what we're using funds on,
Okay.
that we are focusing a lot of our efforts towards math because that is our lowest scoring area as far as standardized tests. Both, I think, with short cycle assessment and the last time we did a state-based test.
Are we scoring lower than, like, other schools in the area?
That is a good, no, I don't.
No.
Not like for our geographic area, no.
Okay, they're not as necessary.
We were way ahead in science.
Yeah.
We were well ahead in English language arts, and we were level in math.
But the thing is, like, that's no comparison.
That's not a good bar.
Praise.
I mean, but let's just be careful who we're comparing ourselves to, I mean, not who, I don't mean to sound like that, but I just mean like across the state, right? Our math proficiency levels
Pathetic.
are in the single digits.
Yeah.
Which,
Yep.
So I will say that, one of the ways that we're looking at that data is through the maps, the short cycle assessments. We have seen gains in the middle school, and I will say that illustrative mathematics on Open Science, plug for the science curriculum, are both highly rated by Ed Reports. which is a reviewer of curriculum. And, so, yeah, I think that if the curriculum is being implemented with fidelity, which isn't just handing the kids the worksheets and saying, figure this out, it's actually the instructional routines that make the difference, then there is, a lot of evidence that have a positive impact.
Yes, and so then that comes back to the teacher training on how to implement that. And so can you speak to what sort of training teachers have gotten, and for the teachers who are not wholeheartedly embracing, what do they need?
Yes, that is a great question. So in addition to the number talks trainings that you have provided for our teachers, and I would really like to see that happen again,
Mhm.
Not just in ninth grade. I think it's worth revisiting. And I do know that Avery uses that in his classroom because I have visited before he was doing that. So all of our math teachers, including, people like Joshua who teach all the subjects,
Mhm.
did a 3 or 4 day illustrative mathematics training last year. It was virtual, given the context of, where we are. That was going to be more affordable for us. And they have offered to do follow-up support training, and we just haven't figured out how to fit it into the calendar because we do have so few PLAs this year. I do think it is necessary to have ongoing training, and there's a lot of research that shows that one and done is not really doing. And I think, again, with the middle school teachers who've been doing it for a few years, there's just a lot more comfort, and so every year they're getting, more and more familiar with how to do that. I think it's gonna take a little bit more time for our high school teachers, but the more support they have, the better. So that is something that we budgeted for with our Title II funds, is to either do more illustrative mathematics training or some other math PL that would help support teachers.
Thanks. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
I care about it a lot, and it is not an easy thing.
Well, and just as a GC member, a parent of a student here, and a person who teaches math right over there, like, just let me know how to plug in. Like, I mean, I go to my kids' classrooms because that's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But if you want me to set up office hours here, an hour a week, 2 hours a week, and I just sit and people come and ask questions, not students, teachers,
on the
right?
record,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let me know. This is an idea I've had for a while, and it's a matter of coordinating and figuring out when those hours can be best used. I get it, but sometimes like that can also help teachers, because when you have a question right away and you want to answer right away, if somebody's around, right?
Yeah,
That can
of course.
help. So just
Setting up a meeting.
exactly, and then this comes up and that comes up or whatever. So if I can be of assistance, I can sit here with my laptop and do all sorts of stuff, right?
Now that we have internet.
Yeah, yeah. So just let me know. That's just one idea I have, but if you have other ideas, please, I like,
Tanya,
yeah.
that's an awesome
Yeah.
offer. Thanks. Are you familiar with the illustrative curriculum?
Just in very, I would say, very surface level. And that I've used some of their activities in my developmental math classes.
Nice.
And I have worked with some of the people who developed some of that stuff on other kind of projects, but not like I haven't ever dug into the curriculum.
Right.
See what's going on, but very much inquiry based,
Good.
student driven,
Great.
questioning techniques like that. That's all.
More than
like
one
my-
way to solve a problem.
More than one way to solve a problem. All that's like totally my jam. So
Really happy to hear all that.
And I do want to acknowledge that Tanya has offered this before, and it's very generous of her. We have had a bit of a challenge aligning this is hard, the folks who maybe need the most support aren't always the ones who are going to reach out.
right.
And that is hard. And my role as Title II coordinator, amongst other things, is to encourage staff to partake in things. And I'm, subscribed to the PED STEM Connect newsletter, and there's often like MC Spirit stuff. There's a cool like algebra thing going on right now, and I've seen that. And I forward all that to our math teachers, and I hope that they would engage with that. And I'll often put a little note like, hey, this could be really cool for you. I'll watch your class if you want to go do this. Sometimes it's even just a Zoom, and like I can watch your class while you're doing that. So far, not really been taking up long.
So then does it become a requirement of teachers to start like fulfilling certain hours of, I mean, and there's also professional development already.
Well, professional development should align with what they're doing in the classroom and what they need, right? So if whatever you're sending them does that and could count towards hours, then they're checking multiple boxes, so to
Yes.
speak, right?
But also
So-
like meeting with you.
Yeah, exactly,
Absolutely, I
which,
think that would count.
yeah, I don't know if it would count. Oh, I mean, we'd have to like.
Do we lose Alex?
Maybe Alex lost us.
But you're.
I'm here, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening.
Been too quiet.
I don't have a lot
Yeah.
to say about math.
No, it's just your face disappeared from the screen, but I think that's a timeout thing, maybe.
I think anything that teachers are doing that are making them better, more capable teachers counts towards that 60
Yeah,
hours.
exactly.
And I think if it's meeting one-on-one view, that kind of mentorship, it, is maybe more valuable than any of the other workshops they could go to. So
Yeah.
I think that would very much count towards.
Yeah, yeah.
But Aaron's question is really
Yeah.
relevant for Will,
Yeah,
right?
I guess I.
Will handles the professional development plans, assuming we still do that in New Mexico. And it would be incumbent on you to identify a teacher who needed this training but wasn't availing themselves of the offer.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just
There.
making that clear to you.
And during the director's report, I have some thoughts on the math,
Okay.
our math staffing,
Okay.
and I will revisit that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't even, need just math, I'm thinking in my experience working in a school and being an educator and. It isn't that as educators, we don't think these things are valid or important or valuable, but man, our day gets away from us, we're busy, stress, all the things. But once it becomes a requirement, it sure changes things.
It's up on the priority list,
Yeah.
right? Like
It
probably
shifts.
something, yeah, that makes sense.
So that kind of leads into my last thing, which maybe this is a little bit premature to share, but some of these pieces are already in place. Jackie may have already shared that we did receive some funding for the out of school time grant. We'd asked for like 200,000 and they gave us like.
That is,
50 something, okay,
almost 56.
okay. And so based on the funding codes and how that, was earmarked, 20,000 of that is going towards like EE supplies, food for trips.
Mm.
Camping, whatever permits, that kind of stuff. And the remaining 35-ish is specifically for teachers stipends, and that was originally written in for things like Nate would mountain bike, and the
Oh,
fact that he
nice.
does, 2 hours on Tuesday, 2 hours on Thursday, and 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday. And he's not on contract to go biking with the kids. Our school nurse goes on all these overnight trips, and he is, I think, only a part-time employee, so he's doing tons of extra hours, which provides, I think, a lot of support for risk management and I don't know, for me as a parent, makes me feel a lot better when he's going on these trips. Much like when our school nurse went on a lot of
That's right.
trips. So we are talking about how to best structure those stipends, and one of the things we've talked about is, using it to incentivize going on backpacking trips. For instance, going on both backpacking trips, and other things that are maybe feel above and beyond for some of our teachers.
Yeah, so something occurs to me, and Will, I'm guessing you've thought about this 10 times already. That could be the job of one person to decide the size of those stipends, but there's some advantage to having a staff committee do that, because staff know things that you just don't have time to know, and maybe some kind of honest, hey, I see this guy going to every single one of these trips, or somebody noticing, Mark, he might not be the guy who'd speak up for himself.
Right.
I'm just thinking that could be a way. I also am a huge fan of peer evaluation. I think it can go south sometimes if there's somebody who with some malice of, intended, but it's such a team building thing, and you begin to see the strengths, and I think it's easy to take, one thing I noticed about your classroom is, there are always a couple kids in the back who aren't doing anything. It's easier to hear that than from the boss. I don't know. I think peer evaluation is very, very bad. Anyway.
Well, and I do want to say that this is being discussed by the leadership team. So, Jackie, Will, me, Maya, Jeannie, Allison Phillips, Pat, Liz, and Cheryl Head. And haven't come up with an exact formula yet for how that's going to be calculated, but definitely input is welcome because we want it to feel equitable. And initially we said, well, we'll just give every teacher kind of a chunk of money just as a, thank you, we see you. We know that you're doing way more than even a regular teacher, and all teachers are doing so much. And then, Ms. Cheney did point out that there are some teachers doing even more than others. And so that is still kind of being figured out. But I think, Aaron, what made me think of your comment is that sort of connection to sort of teacher retention and motivation to do the things, because a especially I think here at Aldo, we ask so much of our teachers, and all the committees and all the trips and staff, long staff meetings. And so anything we can do to help them say, hey, this is worth it. And, you know, we're really trying to honor all that stuff.
Are we locked into the 20,000, 35,000 split?
That's a Jackie question.
Okay, I thought, well, we talked about the finance committee.
Right.
Yeah.
The way you described it, it sounded like we were, but
Oh, I know.
I heard from Jackie that we weren't.
I just know that's how it was currently arranged based on the funding codes that are in OBMS, is my understanding.
Generally, we can change those unless the program itself has a restriction.
Yeah, so what we put into the original grant application, again, we were asking for a whole lot more money, and so there's no way of knowing exactly what they thought we were gonna spend that money on, except for that it came from that original budget, so all of.
So I think what you said is correct, that it's flexible. Okay, well, then I would keep an open mind, leadership team, when you're deciding on these amounts, whatever. Personally, I have an interest in seeing expenditures that would be operational be replaced by this funding source. But if you see that you need to make these such a size and in such a quantity that it's more than 35,000, I would trust you all to make that judgment.
Yeah, and I don't think that'll be necessarily based on what we've talked about before. I think actually we were looking at, you know, probably 20,000 definitely being spent on stipends, and then we were kind of not sure, that sort of 15,000 of like, okay, do we want to also send that
Of
stipend?
course, if we can use the 15,000 for trips that would
Yeah.
otherwise be paid for out of operational, that's bonus.
And with that same grant, we have 20,000 that are gonna be spent for
Yeah.
sure on trips.
Yeah.
So whatever's left over from the stipends or whatever, we can always just move it over to
Beautiful.
fund
So
trips.
yeah, that is, I think Title II can also be spent on teacher retention, but they only gave
Yes.
us like $8,000. It's not very much money. And I think that is the money we earmarked for math PL and there's some other chunk for other PL, but yeah, you know, teacher retention is important. And, you know, again, with what we do as a school, I think.
PL is the new abbreviation for PD.
Oh, yeah.
I just,
No loading.
yeah, that's what I assumed, so.
All right, that is my staff report, unless anybody has any questions, things you'd like to know about. Sure, it's not everything.
Thanks, Ally, that was thorough, appreciate it. Those are.
I'm not seeing any. Alex, do you have any questions for Ally?
I do not, thank you.
I can no longer like check in with you by looking at you. It's disturbing to me.
Except to talk to the owl.
Yeah, talk to
Make
the
eye
owl.
contact with it.
There she is, she's back.
Here's Alex.
Oh, that was up to her. Apparently she had control. All right,
Clear her throat every 5
if you have
minutes.
to eat, go ahead. You can turn it on.
Well,
Thank you, Ally.
if there are no questions, I will leave.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Back to integers, Roman numeral 6, business manager report.
First of all, I want to apologize for getting the reports out so late. Erin and Tanya, you do have them as well. But they were fresh off the press, right? As I was,
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in our folder.
okay.
Oh,
Good.
our folder. Okay, well, we'll come back to that, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went over a few things during our finance meeting. One of the things that I did go over with the finance meeting is that I went into OBMS and we have all of our grants in there. And I was able to find a lot of grants that were not being applied to like salaries. So altogether, how much do we come up with? Like 100 and
Between 120 and 150.
yeah, that were sitting in grants and I grabbed them from there
1,000.
and, yeah, 1,000. And I grabbed them from there and applied them to whatever specific funding code that they were marked for. And one of those is that I thought it was a really good thing for the after school summer school grant, the one that Ally was talking about. We think it's wonderful. We've been discussing it's just like when you have like extra money in your pocket, you know, when you find it and then you just like, you have so many great ways to spend it. So, but we do want to say thank you to our teachers because they do so much. And like Ally said, we did want to, you know, maybe give so much to each teacher, but some teachers do so like one of them in particular goes out on almost every backpack. So we're trying to figure out like a good formula. And then, but I still think we have enough time. I think this is something that we'll probably give out at the end of the semester That'll probably be like the end of the semester kind of thing.
And these are just sort of like little stipends, right? They're not increases in.
Right, it's just like a one-time thing, yeah, and we have about 35, almost 36,000 that we have to play with.
And right now, the decision hasn't been made yet on how to
How do you?
quantitate.
Right, yeah.
Quantify, sorry.
yeah.
That value. and
Right,
how it's
yes, yes, yeah. And the way that it's written, it has to be for stipend, like, we can't use it like on a salary.
Right.
It has to be strictly on a stipend, some kind of after-school program, on a summer school program, something like that.
So I'm gonna say in the reports that Jackie sent out, one of them is called Account Summary Report Dash Expenditures.
See expenditures.
And if you look down the far right column that's headed available,
Uh-huh.
you'll see there are a number that have a large amount. Those are all the ones that Jackie is talking about, where no expenditures have been budgeted in those funds. And in many of those cases, when we budget expenditures in those funds, that budget authority will come out of operational. We can reduce operational budget one for one. So just in case you're curious about more than just the after hours, that's what Jackie's talking about.
And then I also do want to point out that on the account summary report for revenues, if you're familiar at all with the accounting system, you see a lot, don't get scared because it looks like all those are negatives. All those are not negatives. Anything that you see in the negative is actually a positive. So.
A negative revenue
a
is
neg-
actually a positive.
Yes. How should I?
And a positive expenditure is actually outgoing money.
Yes, yes, it just, so, from what I understand, I mean, like, I saw the reports that were presented last year and she would actually clean them up. Didn't have time to clean them up, so I'm like, it's easier for me just to explain that to
You
you.
really don't need to.
Yeah, it's just, it's a lot, I actually tried and it just took too long and it was confusing me, so I thought, no, I will just let you know that that works.
Can you share your screen, or can somebody share their screen so that we can all, so, and then you can point to the numbers that you're talking about? That might be helpful.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
We just won't be able to see Alex from it.
As long as people can still see us.
You might have to pull, so you might be in a double
Window.
screen mode, and so if you pull your window over, I bet it might show up. Do you see what I mean?
And, yeah, but I'm not, let me put that up here.
Sometimes that happens, right? Like it sees it as another screen.
And actually what it did, it like kind of froze my screen.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't like
Dear.
Chromebooks. Is it a touch screen?
Oh, no. Sorry. Little, and the only reason is because mine is hooked up to home. So,
well, maybe
I can do it on my
that's, sorry if that was a
No, no.
ask that caused chaos. Yeah, you can also, if you want to come sit beside me,
I could look your down.
and then I can do my best to point at the numbers as.
Manual point.
Right.
Thanks for representing Aaron.
you think maybe the Chromebooks just don't,
Yeah, I don't know.
because I know a lot of stuff is not compatible with it.
You can also see it on the screen now.
Okay.
We're looking really going down to expenditures, right?
Yeah,
So all those negatives is what she's talking about.
so if you look on the left side right there,
Are
it'll
we
tell you the
in-
fund, it tells you like the fund number.
Expenditures.
Expenditures.
This is where you want to be, right?
Yeah, we can-
Okay, you let me know.
Okay, so see, if you look at the fund, when we look at, any kind of money that's coming in, we look at the fund, that's like a really important. 11,000 is always our operational, that is what we use to, run the school, buy anything to run the school. And then after that, down a little more. Yeah, and then we start with our food program, And the food program right there is the 21,100. And then we start with our grants, starting like at 24,101, that's Title I, and it actually has the name of the grant. And all those numbers that are there are what, so if you see the 24,101, there's 89,
16.
is it 69? I can't see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 69, 266. No, it's actually 89. That's right, 69, I can't see. So, and then if you look, nothing was used for it, like it says 00,
16.
and then it has the amount on the right. So I've been trying to use up all those funds and take those funds out of operational and use them on those grants. And so altogether, I guess it was about 120,000 that we were able to move out. And they're very specific in what you can use that money for. So I had to go one
Okay.
by one, and some of them you can only use for an EA, some of them you can only use for a teacher, some of them you can only use for coordinators. And then some of them have to be for a brand new position. So we just have to make sure that we're using them for the right position.
Are these new grant funding sources or are these reoccurring?
They're reoccurring. I don't think we have any, I think Ally was able to get it, like that one for the after school. I believe that one is, there are,
That was newly created by the state, in
Yeah.
fact.
yeah.
I feel like I'm talking about something I know very little about. Is there any way to reward teachers who are being adventurous with their pedagogy, if they're particularly subscribing to experiential education, outdoor education? Is there any way to? I don't really understand where the money's coming from, what all the stipulations are for the grants, but rather than just like this kind of random grant, or we're gonna give everybody the same thing, is there any way to use this to advance this one mission?
We were actually trying to avoid giving everybody that, because we do know that, to give everybody at least something, but reward the ones that really go far and beyond. We really want to do that.
You're talking about the after-school money? Are you talking about all these grants?
All the
So,
grants.
Can I
Yeah,
give
yeah,
some context?
please, yeah.
Most of those, almost all of them, are grants that we're totally accustomed to getting. Every single year, we get
Okay.
Title I, Title II, Title IV, IDEA B, and some of the state ones as well. Usually, this is an exceptional situation because for some reason, in the transition from Justine to our in-house business manager, when we passed the budget, we didn't realize that this money had not been accounted for. It's money that was going to be coming. Justine, I thought she had already accounted for all the money we
Right.
were expecting to arrive, and it's not the case. So all of a sudden, there's these funding sources that weren't budgeted, that now we can take money from operational, take expenditures from operational, put into those. So I wouldn't think of it as new money, except in the cases like the after-school thing. In most of this, I would just take it as, oh my gosh, that's part of why it felt so tight last year. Because for some reason, we weren't accounting for these funding sources we always get.
So here's the deep psychological fear that's in here. I remember what we went through last year
Yeah.
and thinking we were walking in tall cotton, and all of a sudden it was like, holy crap. I don't want to go through that again. And I'm not casting any doubt on what anybody came up with them. It's just, there's this history and vague trauma from that experience. And like, are we sure? The last thing I ever want to do is take money out of deserving teachers' hands, but I'm also thinking, I don't want to be, we were in agony for a few months there. We're like, what's
But
happening?
again, are you talking about the stipends that we were just discussing? Because that's 100% guaranteed money.
Okay, but I'm just puzzled as to why it didn't show up, and like, why didn't we know that? Why were we
So I
panicking as
guess
much?
we did know it. Explain to him what you explained to me, like, I guess Harry said like most of the time you know that it's coming in,
Yeah.
but because it hasn't been
Okay.
approved, right?
So when I was business manager, there would be all sorts of grants that we knew were coming, but that weren't going to get final approval till July.
Mhm.
Because they weren't approved before July 1st, or even before June 20th, we were not allowed to include them in our budget. But I would come and I would tell the governing council, hey, you're seeing this budget. I want you to know this budget doesn't have all the expenditures we actually will have because I'm not allowed to include them.
Okay,
They will be budgeted when we get this grant in July. Which is a different approach than what Justine did, which was to budget all of our costs, even those ones that were going to be covered by another grant, in operation. And that made operational look very, very tight.
okay. Okay,
So that, to me, that was not good communication with her governing council. She should have let us know, especially given what we went through,
right.
the agony, all those discussions, including her. And yet this has happened. So I think you're right to be cautious. You know, maybe there's something that there's another shoe that hasn't fallen yet, but I don't know what that shoe would be.
Okay.
I'm not frankly very worried about it at all.
Okay,
And the funding code is very specific. There's several, you have a big, huge code that's there. And each number means something. So I have been thorough on each of the codes that is what it's for. And like I said, some of them are just for strictly for teacher salary.
Yeah.
Strictly for EA salary. So I've been trying to match up who, and then some of them are just strictly for math teachers. Some of them are strictly like for SPED teachers, like it has to match. So I have been very thorough on finding a teacher that I can fund from that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. My skepticism isn't directed towards
No, and
you or anybody. It's more like.
That's why I think it's the
General.
first time Mary has heard about it because
Yeah.
I'm afraid to share any good news because.
I know.
Yeah. So I told Will about it a couple of weeks ago and I'm like, hey, I found this, but I don't know, like,
Okay.
it's just really good.
That's a
news.
great find.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Is it appropriate all for me to ask for any information given, and I really don't know about last year and the gaps that were found or the concern that was found that didn't seem like it previously was there and then was there? Or I don't.
Yes,
know.
it's
I don't have
appropriate.
details.
But my suggestion would be save it for some professional development for us
Okay.
on finance.
Okay.
And I mean, I think others have expressed an interest in doing that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm really happy to give some kind of workshop in school finance. And that would be a great time. I will also just send you what I sent everybody else in the governing council last year, explaining what Jim just described, the trauma of finding out we had a lot less money than we thought we had. So I'll send that to you separately, but then we can also go over it if that works for you.
thanks, sir. Thanks. Jay.
Yeah.
So, and moving right along, we did the, revenues, expenditures. And these are all reports that, are customary. I did mention in my email, if there's anybody that wants an additional, report, or you want to see where something is being spent, by all means, ask me. And I have invited Harry to come and share my computer. I want him to be as involved as he wants to be. I accept I welcome any of his help. I want him to be checking my work. I want him to be asking me questions. Because I want, like, if I'm not here, I want for somebody to say, why did Jackie do that? And I want him to be able to understand. That's what I really like that. So also, I have included the PO encumbrances by fund report. We don't have too many POs that are open right now. And these are just simply, yeah, this is just simply, POs that are open right now.
These are.
I've already highlighted. I was hoping somebody would
I just wanted to bring some attention.
Oh, yeah.
wanted to test our governing council members.
Ah,
If you look on there, most of them are like, a big one is probably about 1,900. There's $1,000 one. There's one for 8,000. But all of a sudden you scroll down and then you see a big, huge one there for 51,000.
Alex, are you able to see what we're talking about?
No, but I have it open on my phone.
Okay,
Okay.
so, there is one for 51,450. So, back in 2022, Aldo Leopold received a grant for 51,000 to build a shade structure. And apparently, because, all the talk about us moving, nobody moved on it. We just kind of like sat on it to see if we were gonna move. I guess nobody really wanted to build that shade structure. It just stayed there in the account. But, this money actually came with its own funding line, which anybody else would have just probably put it just under its own funding line and just waited to see if we were gonna use the money. That money was deposited into operational back in 2022. So, Will just got a email, when, in July?
Yeah, well, this is the New Mexico Outdoor Rec Division grant. And if you remember if you look at the minutes, I think I talked about how I knew that this was an issue, and so I reached out to them and said, hey, can we get an extension? All three of the people involved in this are now no longer associated with the school in any way. And we're likely to move facilities in the near future. Can we just wait until we have that and then put it in the new place? And the response, which was reasonable yet somewhat disappointing to us, is due to the fact that since the reception of the grant by Aldo, there had been zero reporting with them. And due to the unknown about what the next facility will be, they requested that they receive a check in the amount that is highlighted there back. So remember what Jackie said, that money was given as a grant, which was to be set aside specifically for this purpose. However, it was deposited into operational, which is its own
Was spent.
concern. And then it was spent on Sharpies and
Big.
bagels and rulers, paper and who knows what. And because of that, it is a pure loss. The silver lining is that the Outdoor Rec Division acknowledges the situation that we are in, and they extend a bit of, I'll say, sympathy in the situation, where when we do have our facility situation worked out, we can reapply and re-earn the grant that we initially had and use it for the next facility.
Did their sympathy contain a hint that it might well be
Yes.
approved? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So say,
Well, I think it's a trust thing. I think that you
Yeah.
did a good job finding this and reaching out to them, because you could have just, I mean, not said anything and sort of been like, I hope nobody notices. You know what I mean? But that is not relationship building or trust building, but saying like, hey, here's the situation, that's trust building, and I think that would go
Yeah.
far. so.
Yeah.
And I think eventually we would have had to pay it back. Most of these are good for about 4 years. When they give us money like that, it's usually good for about 4 years.
And then they come calling and
And
say,
then
hey, send us pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, grants tended like to see where their money's being.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was a little bit tough to swallow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, New Mexico Outdoor Rec Division. We really appreciate you guys.
Yes. And so that's for that big one. That's a big, huge one, and we just sent off the check.
Okay.
Probably like this week. We were kind of sad to see it go, but it felt good too, just.
You find the $20 bill in the graduation suit jacket and you're just like, oh crap, I owe $15.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And, so we're moving down bank account register activity, just, everything that was cleared in the month of July.
Anyone wants me to stop, let me know.
Can I ask a question? I mean, it's going backwards a little bit. There's above the 51,000, there's an 8,327 to
Right.
Ryan Cheney. Can you just describe that one? Because that name looks familiar.
Yes.
It should.
And I'm just, due
Ryan
diligence.
Cheney does all of our reporting for, Nova, anything that we need,
Nova.
stars.
That's what they're calling stars now,
Yeah.
because they collided and exploded.
Supernova.
Just
Yeah.
supernova. That's the next thing.
So, that 8,000 is for a whole year. Yeah, so we pay him and he
Okay.
reports everything, anything that we need. It's really helpful because anytime that we are reporting anything else, sometimes we need to find out like, hey, what's our count on the 40th day? And he,
It's one of the bigger bargains this school experiences.
Yeah.
He is well worth that.
yeah, he knows everything. It's like,
He's
I've never seen him, so I've never like actually physically, but what's weird is that I know him from way back then, like when we were in our 20s, but I've never seen him, but he knows anything that you may ask him, he knows, anything at all.
And the stars reporting, so I know stars, or I think I know is as like a course catalog. like,
That must be included, yeah. Stars
You know,
keeps track of what we teach.
yeah, like
to
the
whom,
the
by whom.
course and the course number and kind of like the course content at PED, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
like, I view it as like, it's like the satellite data of all the things that go to the state around the results of our students in our math and in ELA and in science and in that kind of thing, and census, all of the metrics that go out from afar that don't cover any of the small things that we do here. It's all
Attendance is a big thing.
the big things that go to the PED.
Yeah, that's why I was-
We're well.
when you said stars, I was like, what are we reporting? Cause I just know it as like a course catalog kind of thing, but
Student
it's
teacher accountability reporting system, something like that?
Yeah, I guess that's
Okay.
right.
okay, yeah, like if I need to look up, like somebody will say, well, what's beyond algebra 2 or something, you know what I mean? And I can look up and see what courses in there are tagged as like
Yeah,
beyond algebra 2. Anyway,
yeah.
By the way, what was our day one enrollment at the school?
Oh, that's a great question. Day one was 194.
This is part of your director's report, because
Oh, sorry, I was just,
Yeah,
no,
we're
that's
looking
okay.
at SEG.
I can come back to that.
Yeah.
I don't remember day one, but I know what today is.
And then we have the bank reconciliation as of July 31st. Has all of our outstanding checks. We don't have too many. Almost all of us have been cash. And then, balance sheet report. And I believe that's
The bank account register activity report.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Did you put those 2 lines for the donations?
no, but I will. But I was gonna ask Harry why they had never been done.
Just wondered while Alex was here, it's worth.
Okay. I know that, Harry, one of the things that I have been wanting to ask you is I noticed that any kind of parent donation or any kind of, like, any kind of like parent trip fees or anything, they've been being put in operation.
Mhm.
Is there a reason why we don't have a special funding line for them? Or is it just there
Well,
was no need?
The trip fees really are covering operational expenses. The
But-
donations that you're referring to, that would depend on the donation.
Like donations to, like, for us to go out, like, on any of our backpacking trips or,
So again, depending on what the parent, how the parent designates it, you could do something different with it. We have a whole bunch of activity funds
right,
under the 23,000 series. And sometimes parent donations go in there.
so would it be advisable to open up a couple of lines and just to do?
I don't know what you mean by open up, but I would, when a
like,
parent,
to create one?
for activities fees, I would keep those in operation. That's,
Okay, cause I know,
there's a specific object code in Fund 11,000 for
okay,
those. 41920 maybe,
okay,
something like that.
My
Go ahead,
question
Al.
would be, how are we delineating what is parents paying for trips versus donations?
I would put a donation under a different line that would be called donations. As opposed to fees. There's one that's for donations and one that's for fees. And I would put trip fees under fees.
so would it be easier for everybody just to, like, for if we created 2 funding lines, like?
Well, you
under the
have to use
20
what OBMS gives you, right? You can't invent your own object code.
No, not the object code, but like a fund, like in the 2300s,
23,000s.
23,000s, could we?
Everything you need is probably already there. There are like 20 funds under 23XXX.
Okay, because I thought maybe we could open up something under the 23,000 that strictly said like donations, like parent donations, or, but I was just wondering why it had never been done.
It has been done. Like I said, there are like 20 funds under that that I created
Okay,
so that when parents donate. So for example, senior class always had one
right.
because parents donate for banquet, they donate for graduation costs, et cetera.
Yeah, there, I know.
Robes, all that there's a specific fund for senior class expenses. Every single class got its own fund, in fact.
Right.
And then there were funds for recycling and for ultimate frisbee, for prom,
Yeah.
student council. Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
okay,
There should be a fund for anything you can think of, I would think.
okay.
Like a general
Alex-
donation fund?
A general what?
Donation fund?
Like a general
Well, you mean
donation,
if someone donates money to the school
yes.
to
Yeah.
use for operational purposes? If that's what they told me, I would put it in Fund 11,000.
Just under.
What about, okay, well, we have the
Mhm.
$6,500 for trips, specifically raised for trips.
So is there a question there? That
Yeah,
sounds like,
Where should that go?
I think they wanted to just be able to just see that, like, just to be able to, like, oh, okay, there's 9,000 there.
when
And
you say raised, do you mean this is what this parents paying fees?
No,
Or
it's
this
the,
is donations
it's the Zocalo, right?
Yeah.
That's the donation from
and
Zocalo,
it's going to the school, not the foundation?
right?
Correct. Some of it came to the school, some of it to the
I
foundation.
would, in that case, I would use a 23XXX.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's, I mean, so I think one of those funds is called Outdoor Education Fund. That seems like a perfectly good place to put it,
Okay,
if it's for trips.
okay,
But you could go through them, or I can go through them with you.
okay, yeah.
And if you need to create one, go for it.
Okay, and then just so you know, Alex, we did create one over the summer for just donations. For just particularly with you in mind for the, like, anything, all the fundraising that you were doing, we do have one for that. There is one specifically for that.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand what that means. If it's not, it just says donations?
It says donations, I believe it says like something like trip donations, like trip fund.
Okay, so is that
believe
what
it-
that money's gonna go into?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Okay.
that is what,
Well, so you didn't need to have this discussion. You've already done it.
yes, but actually, I was just wondering why we haven't done like a parent fee, like just simply where all the fees go into it.
It's called an activities fee, and it is in,
Okay, I'll have
yeah.
to,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the problem, Harry, is there's no way to track at the end of the day who's paid, what parent has paid and what parent hasn't.
Yeah, there's a way. I spent many, many hours doing exactly that.
and then also, Alex, I know that last year when we did deposits, they were not being like specific. This year, I'm being very specific as to whenever I cash receipt them in, I'm being very specific and putting in like people's names and stuff, so it'll be easier if we need to go back.
So good. Yeah, I always put people's names.
Yeah, and that wasn't being done last year.
These things are being receipted, right?
Yes.
By Kathy?
Yes.
And doesn't she write their name on the receipt?
Yes.
Okay.
She does, but when it was put into APTA, it wasn't. I am.
Okay.
So.
Lots of things fell by the
That's how you
wayside.
would track it going forward? I still don't
I,
understand.
so this is way weedy for a governing council
Okay,
meeting.
so we can talk about it later. I don't,
Let's do that.
I also submitted, 3 bars that we need to look at and approve tonight if possible. These actually came as from New Mexico Public Education Department. And they gave us the amount of the decrease and the increase. The first one is a decrease. And this one is for the library fund. They said that the decrease had to be, 2,074, and it leaves us with a budget of 317.
What's the backstory on that?
I don't think we know.
I think it's because they give us a certain amount of money is it 2 or 3 years?
It's geo bond every 2 years.
Yeah, it's the geo bond every 2 or 3 years, and we've already spent it. And that is what's left out of those 2 or 3 years. So we have $317 for this year.
So it's just money we left on the table and it's like, yeah, it's the way it goes.
I
Or
think we used it. I believe that.
maybe not.
So I don't know the backstory, but it's probably not the case that we left on the table.
Yeah.
It's probably the case they told us what our budget was going to be, and so we put that in our budget when it was approved.
Okay,
And now they're saying, oops,
Never
we
mind.
told you wrong.
Yes.
okay.
That's my
All right,
guess.
all right.
So I actually have that if you want to look at it. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, this was so unhelpful.
Yeah.
Thanks. I already saw
Yeah.
that, and it didn't explain
say
anything.
increase. Yeah, and it was already there, like all we have to do is just click. So, and it's 2 of them like that. It was that one and Fund 31,400 that one is in there as well. And that one was actually an increase. So now our adjusted budget is 84,219.
And do we know what this is for? So the fund 31,400 is money we get from legislators in either the big capital outlay bill or the junior capital outlay bill. I think they both go in the same fund number. And it's always earmarked for something specific. And we couldn't figure out what it was because there were 4 possibilities.
It was 4, yeah.
And have you been able to find out which of those 4 this is?
It was, that's the one that I had to call Justine about.
Yeah.
She helped me. She said that it just goes, basically, they tell you where to put it in, and it was already like marked. And basically it came in the same email and everything was already done for you.
But we don't know if this is the FY 22, one of the 2 FY 23s, or the FY 24.
Right. We don't know.
Alyssa has to tell us that,
Yes.
right? Alyssa Marquez.
So I did reach out to her.
Yeah.
And she said, there's a report you can run. That's all she said. It was kind of.
And you haven't had a chance to run that
No,
report?
well, I don't know what report, because there's like a million reports you can run.
Okay. All
So
right,
maybe,
we'll talk.
yeah. And then there's another one for, this one is for the lunch. Same thing, it was a decrease. Basically, they told us what to do.
Was that when we didn't, our reporting was not up to snuff?
No, this was just that, like, they were just, saying, like, once again, like, hey, we told you this, it's actually this much.
Okay.
So, those were the
Hmm.
3.
Does that happen frequently?
Yeah.
They being the PED, I'm
PED,
guessing, right?
yes,
Says.
Hmm.
This
Does
is what
not
we're
happen
gonna-
frequently. So I have a separate guess about the free lunch program. Could be related to all the federal nonsense, right? They're cutting funds.
Okay.
We know they're cutting
Weird
funds.
things are happening.
This could be that. The first one, the geo bond, that's purely state. So that's clearly not Doge or anything like that.
Right,
Okay.
but it's not something that we count on like
I
every,
would say this is very unusual.
okay,
And usually you get a real explanation. I mean, I don't remember it happening more than a handful of times, and the state would be embarrassed
right, yes.
Yeah.
and they would explain it.
Yeah.
And they always used to. This is kind of mysterious. I don't know.
But I brought, I brought the email
If
with
anybody
me.
wants to see the unhelpful email.
Yeah, it basically says nothing. It was not helpful, and then it just says, look at how much we had given you last year, this is what we're giving you this year. And then I just based the decrease on these numbers that they sent along with it. So, and then we just have to approve it tonight or look it over, and then we just submit it into, or I'll submit it into OBMS, and then we'll approve it. So that, I believe that's an action item.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
listed as action. Any questions about the bars? All right. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're on, Will.
All right, director's report, and we have a whopping 13 minutes left of this meeting. So for the sake of all of our time, I'm going to move at a expedited rate. If you can't see this, can you? I'll share my screen.
So, Will, just so you know, my expectations were done by 7:30,
Is that so?
not 7.
Okay, that is news to me.
I was thinking, oh, we got 45 minutes.
That is news to me.
And you two don't have that much experience. But
I
you
just
might
thought we
remember
were
it,
till
Angel?
done.
We're here till we're.
Yeah, but I do try to make us done by
2 hours.
7:30.
7:30?
Yeah.
Okay, I could.
Don't recalibrate because there's a lot still to come.
Oh, I need to plug in my computer, but I think I'll be able to get through this at least.
Okay.
Once I get past the, oh, there's the part, because we're sharing it. Right. It's been a quiet month. It's not been a lot going on. It's been very easy and pleasant for everyone all around. Okay, director's report. Let's go through the strategic plan. Those of you that were on the GC last year know that we no longer contract with the lovely Dr. Anthony Smith, who does our strategic plan work. However, I had some conversations with the man himself, and he, due to an intrinsic commitment and desire to support our school, has expressed and committed a willingness to continue to do the scaffolding for our strategic plan. So huge thank you to Dr. Anthony Smith for his help with that. I'm very grateful for that. And it saves us a ton of money while maintaining our ability to be in compliance and grow reasonably. This is this month's strategic plan tasks. Ally is not here to speak to her, much to Dr. Anthony Smith's chagrin, to speak to students, the mentoring process, but we heard a lot about that in the staff report. Questions on that can be fielded. There was one teacher who was initially going to be the recipient of a lot of mentorship, and due to some changes, some staff changes that are to come following these contracts this year that I did not create. And so I'm going to follow and execute the contracts that were done at the end of Hannah's term. When we get to the end of fiscal year, when we get to the end of this fiscal year, some things will be different. And so due to the nature of that, that teacher is no longer the recipient of mentorship because it is a moot point, because they are not seeking to continue their licensure after this.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's my report for Ally on section 1. Piece 2 here again is it's tricky for me to do that as it is the beginning of the school year, and I was not here at the end of the school year last year. So we're going to move on from that, but that is a piece for us to make sure that we're actually doing. Lastly, we have a review and update of job descriptions, which is occurring, needs to occur, and a lot of this was based around Ally's job description due to it being so amorphous and all-encompassing and somewhat confusing. And so that warrants further investigation. This piece down here, item number 4, is the one that has received the most attention and the most thought from myself and Maya, who is now managing our fleet of vehicles. And that has been a transitionary period. If you were here last year, you know that Pat Abelos was managing the fleet, the maintenance, the checkout, the process for all of that. Now, and Pat instituted School Dude, which was the software system. If you see here, there's an emphasis on using a software system. That was a software system that was used to say on this CO Friday, I want to use these 2 vehicles. This is when we're leaving. This is how far we're going. This is all that kind of stuff. We are going to shift away from School Dude due to the fact that School Dude costs money and it is not as ergonomically functional with staff as we would like. And it also doesn't include maintenance. There is no maintenance section in School Dude. So instead, Maya is creating a Google system that will include the maintenance, the trip, checkout, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a one-stop shop and it's all in a folder. And whenever someone wants to use the vehicle, they go through the system in Google. Maya can review that, ensure that it's all up to date, and it also allows us to stay up to speed on maintenance, which has been a gap in the past. So
This is part of her work as experiential
coordinator. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Since that's, and so we thought that was a logical shift, especially with Pat taking on the new roles of special ed director. We just shift these kind of things around. Everyone has good buy-in for that, and it seems to work pretty well so far. So
And
this,
those are like Google Forms or something?
yeah, and we're in the transition of that. We still have School Dude, by the way. We're just not going to renew the contract with them. And we're going to continue to have some digital record of our vehicle fleet management and usage.
Can I ask?
Yeah, please.
If the expectation of the maintenance of a vehicle that's checked out or used, isn't up to the standard expectation that's given off the checklist, what does that look like? What's the follow through or what has happened in the past that this is like a big concern? Or is it just like a general maintenance?
It's a great question, and I'm not sure because I wasn't here during that time. I do know that when I started in July, many of the vehicles were behind in their maintenance, and part of that I think is just due to the pace at which the school operates, and there was no malice involved at all. But Hey Dude just had a gap there where it was easy to miss that. And if you're familiar with the way all the vehicles function, some of us more than others, perhaps, there's a checkout form on there that has, check the oil level, check all this kind of stuff. And then that paper was just not so occasionally entering the ether. And so by having that in, that is now part of the Google. And so now it's a one-stop shop rather than having a vehicle checkout system, a vehicle check-in system. It's probably not the right word for it, but you know what I mean? You check the headlights work and all that kind of stuff. Now it's all in one place.
Oh,
And so we'll see how, and again, it's an experiment and we are doing this transition. And so we'll see what happens and we can report back on that next month. Any questions on strategic plan stuff for this month? Okay, cool.
Great.
Again, thank you, Dr. Anthony Smith.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, some of the update stuff, and I understand if you look at the agenda here, it went slightly out of order, and that was just because I thought that this warranted further discussion than the strategic plan. Just some follow-up reports from these were a lot of these things were items on last month's director report as things that are going to occur. And so I want to get in the habit of both having things to report and things to expect for the next one. And so part of this is me following up on things that I said would happen, and then this is where we're at. So first day orientation, we had a unique first day this year because the schedule was changed at the end of the last fiscal year in order to make sure that our SEG provided adequate funding for us. And that meant that we had our first day of school on a Friday, which was kind of cool and problematic in some ways also because it's a Friday and that's kind of clunky for people. And it also didn't create a nice environment for an extended in-service as we would like this year. There's only 3 days of in-service and we had to get the orientation. So in that 4-day window, we had to get all of the in-service requirements, have the formal first day of school and have orientation. So in order to accommodate all of those needs, I made the school day the minimum required by the PED. So that still met the obligation and adjusted the schedule with the ethos being that, as Ali said, students come in and just get familiar with like where their classes are and pop around and like we do the basic first day stuff and also use that day as the chance to convey all of the essential items that students might want to use the weekends to try and acquire. So that's why the Friday had some perk in that category. And the orientation was done in the afternoon. Orientation was moderately well attended. I would say this was done at the GRC. I think some of you were there. And we went through modified slideshow presentation of some of the things that are different, some of the things that are the same, some expectations, some communications, and we had a spread where a bunch of different voices were able to share their component of the school, which I thought was a nice touch, and it spared me from having to be up there chatting for 2 hours at people, which I think is in everyone's best interest.
And as an audience member, I thought that worked really well. I think it made it much more engaging.
Yeah.
To have different voices.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Diane.
Is that orientation for just new families, for returning, for everyone?
So I made it as required, as much as you can do, because it's if you come, great. If you don't, I can't go get you. And for new families, and then recommended for returning families, and that was both a logistical concern because the GRC has limited capacity. And I didn't want to be beyond any sort of fire code or anything like that. And I really wanted to convey the message to new families, things that are different. At the same time, the presentation is available to all families. So even though you didn't get to hear our lovely jokes and commentary, you can still get the nuts and bolts information. In service this year, I thought was really lovely, mostly because I like this kind of stuff and I come from an experiential outdoor ed background, and I thought that was a big focus is what is experiential? How do we actually do it? It's not just going to the river about, just the revisiting all the fundamentals of what good lessons are and what good teaching is and good, I don't like the word good, effective group management. And so that was, I had an excellent time. And I think all staff who you would ask would echo that as well. And we also visited professional boundaries, which is a PED requirement and something that I really wanted to set the tone for, given our relational approach at this school and our extended time doing trips and all that. Part of the in-service was upgrading and modifying our behavior and incident reporting. And a big piece of that, being an experiential outdoor school, was emphasizing the value of documenting near misses as opposed to documenting only incidents. Because by documenting the near misses, you collect the metadata, which then tells you what sort of themes and patterns are occurring that then prevent the incident reports. And so far this year, I'm happy to report that I have received an overabundance of them, which is the truth. Because anyone who's ever done any sort of outdoor programming or anything, you experience near misses. And I like to think of the near misses as any time where everyone in the group or people in the group go, ooh,
That was close.
that was kind of close, but nothing actually happens. And so taking the stigma away from that kind of documentation, as in this is purely for preventative measure, has worked well. Also, modifying the behavioral reporting form where now every single teacher has a little slip with a carbon copy on the back of it. Because I wanted to have a paper trail and I wanted to have things into Power School, which is not necessarily always occurring in all those past. So now every teacher has a little form that they document behaviors that are in violation of the policy or up to their judgment, as well as documenting all the paper behaviors that are exceptionally positive and pro-social. Because much like the near miss reporting, it is equally important to reinforce those things we see in students as opposed to going around with a hammer and trying to solve problems. Like we can sort of get ahead of it. And I also am happy to report that I have, a large sum of those. I review those. They go to Kathy. Kathy puts them into Power School, and then the piece of paper goes into the student file, and the teacher has their own records. Now there's a steady trail of where things are coming, where they're going in a digital record for all of that. The near miss reports and the incident reports are reviewed by myself and Maya initially, and then they are put into a Google Drive folder that has all of them in there. And then at the risk management committee, we review all of them for the patterns. So that's that kind of stuff. Tech updates. One of our students is doing an internship with Bart Brown from Western New Mexico University to review all of our Chromebooks and provide tech support. He's of exceptional ability in that category, of which I am not, and we don't have the funds to hire someone specifically for tech purposes. So that gives community engagement, student opportunity for leadership, and our needs met all in one go, which is just fantastic. Lunch this year, if you're unaware, lunch staff are to pay for lunch. And I have modified that to some degree, mostly because one of the things that I found is as soon as I said staff pay for lunch, enough staff went to get lunch. And so to modify this, I've amended this with the math and the great help from Diana, who's been very involved in making our lunch and food service more financially viable, where if teachers are if they need to eat lunch with their student, i.e. like example, one-on-ones, or if you have lunch duty and you're doing this thing, you get your lunch. And if you're going to eat your lunch with students, you don't have to pay for it. And so the incentive there is I want our teachers to eat their lunch with students. And if you're going to take your lunch and then go close your door and hide in your room, you pay for it. And so I thought that was fair. And this was following discussions with both middle school and high school. And the lunch staff, they collect the data on all of this. And then at the end of each month, we bill appropriately.
So the lunch staff has to keep track.
Yes, and they were already doing that.
They're keeping track of where you eat your lunch?
No. That's an extra detail. And the follow through on that is really on me. But what I've experienced since this has occurred in just the change this week, because I missed all of last week due to family obligations, that as soon as this became apparent, suddenly people are eating lunch with the students and being which supports our supervision, supports our connection, and makes sense because otherwise lunches get thrown away. And so that record keeping is excellent because that part of the lunch piece of saving money is now we can be more precise in the ordering from Montessori, so things are not as wasteful.
Teachers really are underpaid.
Yeah,
It adds up.
I too had a chuckle.
For them to change their behavior based on $5.
Okay, mountain bike race. We have the
Same thing at Western.
610, yeah.
See, now it's different.
$6.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, one last piece on lunch. I'm moving fast. Please interject. Otherwise, I'm not going to leave a ton of room for questions. And I know that we all have no problem interjecting here. So for lunch, we do get reimbursement from the USDA. We've been missing breakfast for that. And so Diana is working on getting breakfast reimbursements as well. And that is supported by Senate Bill 4. And I am not the expert on this, and this is a new thing that Diana is investigating. And so if you ask me a lot of questions on that, I probably don't have a lot of great answers. So ask Diana if you have more on that. Mountain bike race, August 30th at Fort Bear Dragonfly, the first ever NICA interscholastic mountain bike race hosted here in Silver City.
Oh,
It's very cool.
So cool.
Yeah, and for those unaware, if you think it's going to be like 4 or 5 people that show up with a few bikes in the back of the Tacoma, it's like well over 500 people and a very significant
Holy
event.
smokes.
And so I think it'd be really cool for as many of us to attend that as possible and support it. And as part of SAC committee, we are going to do some fundraising there. Alex, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're going to do some fundraising, sell merchandise, and perhaps have some sort of food item for sale.
Oh,
And
that's great.
there might be a need for some volunteers for that, but we'll be in touch about that.
Are they gonna use the Tommyknocker Trail?
I don't think so. No, I can confidently say they're not. There's a very specific NICA route that they have to do to make it work for middle school students and varsity high school.
There are a couple of risky places on the old.
Yeah.
Adams Trail.
And for those interested in riding the course, you can do so as an open community and family event on Saturday afternoon at around 5 p.m. And you'll have to chat more with Nate Shea
Is
about.
that when they've wrapped up and the course is clear?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's it's really a 2-day event.
Oh.
And Saturday is like practice runs of the course for everyone. You do all the NICA comes in with their team and they set up their fences and they set up the chip timing and they do all of their sort of course infrastructure work. And then when all of the athletes and coaches have done their pre-rides, then there's an opportunity for the general public to go as like a fun run kind of tour of the loop, which I think is really cool. And if you have a bike, then you should hop on and give it a go.
Yeah.
And then Sunday is the actual race.
Race.
Sunday's the
Okay.
race.
So Nate doesn't have to be in charge of 500 riders.
NICA,
Nike.
which is the
And
national.
he's going to these, but they have never been.
Yeah, it's the first one in Silver City. They have one in, other places that are often are is Gallup, Socorro has one. I think maybe Las Cruces has one, done one, and then of course Santa Fe and.
This is a big step though, because the team used to have to go to Arizona
Yeah.
exclusively.
Yeah, it's true.
But
Yeah,
it is a really positive evolution.
Yeah.
For them.
really.
Where, can we find more information on?
You need to, at this time, talk to Nate
Okay.
Shea, and if you have any of the volunteer fundraising questions, talk to Alex. Alex, just so you're not on mute, do you have anything to add to this?
Nate is putting together a flyer about it, or Nate and Allison perhaps. So it should be coming soon, the information, Erin.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we used to have Silver High School students race with Aldo's team, right? With Nate's team. Is that still happening? Is Silver gonna field its own team? Do we know?
Silver is not fielding their own team,
Okay,
and I don't wanna answer incorrectly, so I would
Yeah,
say
okay.
ask Nate.
all right.
Yes, that's really cool. Get involved in that. All right, next thing on the list here, I have special ed and staffing needs. It's become apparent that we might need to modify and maybe add a 0.5 staff or get some support for special ed. And if you're unaware, the way that they fund schools is based on a per student rate. And while the special ed environment might require more staffing, more resources, when we get to Ryan Cheney with our 80, 40, 80, and 120-day reports, our enrollment of students with certain varying degrees of special ed requirements will increase our funding down the road. So this might be challenging for us in the beginning, and it should come full circle at the end. I'm not saying that it is going to happen. I'm saying that it might. So this is one of those that is a potential warning. And I do have some ideas for how the staffing, both for special ed for this year and for math next year, can be sort of rolled up into one. And I think that's a discussion that I can have with anyone outside of this meeting, other than the fact that I want to mention it on here just as something that's potential. Good? Okay, facilities update. This is maybe the most exciting thing all around. We did submit the lease reimbursement for this year. It's a lot of papers and a lot of signatures from a lot of people, and I thank you all. Some of these, they were signed at tire shops. They were signed, people rode bikes here. People had to come in. It was like planes, trains, bikes, automobiles to get these all signed, and we did. And so we got that in the due date, so that's awesome. Jackie was very helpful with that. Thank you for all the services in that area. Facilities update on, it wound up being, what was it, July 30th was when CSSS, which is Consolidated School Support Services, which is our facilities master plan people, were able to come down and actually go to Jose Barrios with me. There was some delays there because the school was being used for some summer stuff, and we had to coordinate with Silver Schools to get that sort of opportunity to get in there. And so thank you to Silver Schools for that process, and also Silver Schools facility people and their ancillary providers of plumbing and those kind of services were very cooperative and helpful in us to get a well-rounded picture. If you look inside Tanya's OneDrive folder, you will see I shared the preliminary report from Consolidated School Support Services, which is not the formal report, but it is the preliminary report, so you all can review that on your own. Again, for the sake of paper, I did not print 100 copies of these, so you can look at that But I will give you the most important part, which is the final paragraph of this, which clearly states that there's nothing in our assessment so far that would impede our school to immediately move into Jose Barrios. So
No,
that is a mega excitement because otherwise there was the potential concern for millions of dollars to be spent before it was reasonable to occupy. Now, the state manages facilities, the PSFA manages facilities on a scale. Then the state owns all public school buildings and they rank them all. And if your ranking is below 100, the lower your number is, the more in need your facility is for capital outlay funding. And Jose Barrios is in this kind of golden window where the goal is that the assessments will prove to be at the minimum adequacy standard, yet reasonably low, where in the next 3 to 5 years, we will become eligible, if we are able to occupy Jose Barrios, we will become eligible for the improvements that we are deferring to some degree. And if you look through here, you will see some of those,
okay.
none of which are extremely concerning, but it is things like, of the 9 HVAC units on the roof, 1 will have to be replaced in 3 to 5 years. The roof will need sealant in 3 to 5 years, not a replacement. Some flooring stuff, some things along those lines. It's all pretty nicely laid out here. And yeah, I cannot thank the work of Chris and Paul Aguilar enough for that. They are remarkable people who have been very helpful in this. The plan still, and my primary plan for that facility is to, and I have to wait August 25th, so you all know, is when Silver School Board votes finally on the consolidation. All indicators point that they are reconsolidating. Once that is formally decided, then we can move forward with the process of the transfer and what that might look like. Silver Schools is getting an appraisal on the actual value of the property. And I'm working with PSFA again and PC, SNM, the Public Charter Schools of New Mexico, to figure out the details of transferring a school from a public school district to a public charter school. And yeah,
To a public charter school or to a public charter school foundation?
that's a good caveat there. To ideally the Public Charter School Foundation.
Okay.
And so that's where this is like, it'll make your head spin. And if you're new to the way that government operations, maybe not, but it messes with my sense of logic to some degree. So the state owns all of this. We are a state entity. And so the money is essentially just moving in a circular motion. And that's where the foundation comes in, is if the foundation can acquire the facility from Silver Schools, then Aldo can enter a lease to purchase agreement with the foundation, and we can apply for lease reimbursement. And we pay our lease, we get the lease reimbursement, and we use the lease reimbursement to fund our increase in maintenance costs, which is, according to all the conversations I have had, 100% the way to go and legitimate, as bizarre as that sounds. Yes.
You said lease to purchase,
Lease to own,
but it doesn't have to be lease to
Doesn't have
purchase.
to,
Can't it be a straight lease?
it can just be a straight lease.
Don't we want it to be a straight lease so
I-
that we never own the building?
It's a good question. I can't answer that clearly because
think
I am
yeah.
not. I'm not educated enough in that detail, and a lot of this is based upon the guidance from Chris and Paul, and I trust them entirely.
So do I.
Yeah, that's a huge question though about autonomy and responsibility for the building, like.
Oh, I remember now. We talked about this. The reason why I want to do lease to own is because we do not get to be on the list for that capital outlay unless we own it.
That makes
So if
sense.
we can get 3 to 5 years of lease reimbursement, then we can do all these upgrades that we want. Aldo owns it, and then suddenly we're eligible for the millions of dollars in state capital outlay because the building has now decreased to a certain level of on the ranking system. Much like has happened to Cliff.
So
That's why
to me,
Cliff is
that
eligible
is
for all that
better.
money.
That's better than the amount we would get in year 21 and on from lease reimbursement assistance.
Right, because that would give us a lump sum of money to do mega improvements like change a roof, which it
Paul
would,
and Chris calculated
yeah,
that.
all of the lease reimbursements is capped at 250,000 a year, and it would not be enough to do the mega things that would be needed if we got to a point below. It's around 100 right now on the ranking in the state system. It had to get to a substantially lower point before we are eligible for those big improvements. And so that's the best case scenario.
Okay, that's great.
There's some of the other options are that the foundation takes a loan out and they take the risk and they have to buy it if that's the case. Or we get a loan from the NMFA at a low interest rate that we can pay off over a long period of time if we have to, in fact, buy it from Silver Schools. But I have been chatting with the lovely Mr. Will Hawkins, and part of my theory on this is once the consolidation has been confirmed, then we can enter, Will and I can enter a partnership where we can go to all of the community organizations and the community in general and sort of quell the concerns that if we don't acquire Jose Barrios, it could become a boarded up school that would then become something that is, no one wants a boarded up school in their community. It does no good for anyone, and it would immediately become vandalized and the copper would become removed and all of these sort of things. So that would require some flexibility on Aldo's end in order to meet that need. And that might be something like it is the Aldo Leopold Charter School at Jose Barrios or something along those lines, because there's a connection to that name and there's a connection to that in the community. And I want to respect that while ensuring we have a facility. And that's, I'm going to leave facilities at that. Please look through this document. And that's kind of the next piece will be the confirmation from Silver and then the details around what the transfer could look like, just so you all know for the next GC meeting. Yeah.
Let me add one minor,
Please.
not so minor, but try to make it fast. If we are in that building, I think we'll be able to use SB9 money for maintenance.
Yeah.
How anyway, I think so.
You're correct.
So the district put a measure forward to voters that failed last year to renew their SB9 mill levy. They're going to put one forward again, hoping it passes this time. It sounds like they're going to include us. So all I'm doing really is just letting you all know in November, there may well be an election that means like 80,000 a year for us. So
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Okay, let's leave it at that, but in talking in October about that, because there may be some communication that we can do in the community that would be
I think we're gonna be doing that.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And that would be part of Will and I's
For September.
collaborative community
Yeah.
PR effort. One piece on that has come to light today is that the name Aldo Leopold will not be on the ballot measure, as that was required in a letter that was needed to be submitted by June 1st, 2025. And so that's not possible. However, we will still receive the funds. Even though our name is not on there, we will still receive the funds. That was a public entity within this district. So I want to be clear about that
Will
because it's
told you that?
unfortunate. Yeah. Yes, that is from Mr. Hawkins.
So as long as Will is there,
Yes.
we can count on that. In the past, that has not been true,
Yeah.
just so you know. So if the leadership changes, that's at risk. And there are other complications. That's okay. That's a setback.
So it's that was a missed opportunity back in June. And
So okay, I was told we sent a letter last fiscal year.
we can follow up on it. To the report I heard today is that it's not on there.
Because every year I ask. Okay.
Well, please poke and prod some
Makes
more.
me very angry.
Please poke and prod some more. And I'm meeting with Will a few more times next week, so I can poke and prod myself. And if it comes from the chair of the board, I think that helps.
No, it's with Hannah that I would be angry.
Oh, okay, well, but neither here nor there currently. All right, moving forward on to some other things here. Policies, I was surprised by this. I had a lot of people speaking to me of the dress code, and my experience this year I have had no concerns. I've had no concerns. And so I'm like, is that a bit of is maybe a smoke and no fire to some degree around that. Cell phone policy was put on the last GC meeting. I took all of your feedback, sent it to the policy committee, of which Harry is a member of. They modified it and I shared the latest version, and I have a paper copy. This one I did print one from, I wrote up some food. This is an action item. If you don't have one, please look at the paper copy. I will highlight some of the key differences. Otherwise, it's in the OneDrive. The primary difference is that lunch was removed as a time to use your phone. That was something that GC thought we want to have that opportunity, and the staff were strongly against that. And so
For students to have access to.
during lunch. Yes, yeah, right. That's why we go through this flow, I suppose. So yeah, that was the word, and Harry was in that meeting, and And that was at the end of, yet again, a quite long day, and so I was rather grumpy at that meeting. But, I apologize for that, Harry, if you were, because you were like zooming in from, I don't know, some.
Croatia.
Exotic place.
Some globetrotting destination. That is the primary change.
Okay.
Yes, nothing else of note, other than I did add in the extra piece around including wireless headphones and that kind of stuff, because that was not mentioned before. So there should not need to be too much discussion on this, since it's been presented here once,
Yeah.
gone to the policy committee, and I think we're good to approve it. It was shared with everyone at the orientation. And so far this year, it has been functioning relatively well with, of course, the outlier exceptions. There are a lot, if you notice, there's the piece there, educational authorized medical. So this is now people wanting their 504, or they want to have that to say that, they want to make it known that that is included in in their documentation. So that might be interesting to see how it unfolds in the future, but that is again, not my rule. That's SB 11 that the state just says how that goes.
Yeah.
Dress code, I am still going to follow
you.
through. Yeah, I'm gonna follow through on my initial request too. I want to get some community input from everyone on what they think about how that has been functioning, and so I will send a survey out tomorrow. I was gonna do that last week, but again, family stuff kept me away from here the whole time, which I have zero complaints about. Missed some miscellaneous stuff, and there's far more in here than I would be able to ever do, and I've already gone on for too long. So prospectors, I'm now a member of Grant County Prospectors. Which is
Yeah,
Excellent.
you need a hat, boots.
is excellent. Well, yeah, I need a suit. I need a suit. I thought, I am the only person in Grant County Prospectors who wears shorts and trail running shoes, so that makes me exceptional. However, I think that's beautiful, because the whole idea, the theory of that is excellent, which is advocating for the community needs. And Hannah and Wayne have been a part of that, and regardless of your perspective on other components that might be implicit or explicit, the value of that is undeniable. So that is, today I was confirmed a member. And I'm mentioning this, and because this will come up again, but I want to put this on all of your radar too, that on October 3rd, we're planning to do a family picnic led through SAC. Alex can speak to that. That date might change, but I'm trying to spread the word as early as possible to get as much investment and buy-in and help as we will need all
Well,
of
I
it.
just learned that the waterworks is probably not available on that day.
Oh, sure.
Okay, well, it'll be a different day on that week then, which might be to the joy of teachers who don't want to have it on a Friday before we go to break anyway. But we are gonna do a family picnic, right, Alex? We have we have not wavered in our commitment to that.
Well, okay, we haven't wavered in our commitment, but now we don't have a space. So it's an impediment to our commitment. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just making note of the space. Is it just for that day, or is it for the whole week?
Oh, it was very hard to get in touch with them, and they thought we were doing it the first week of September for some reason. And that was okay, but anytime after that, they're gonna start construction on something.
Oh,
So I've
fair
asked,
enough.
I've asked them what the latest date in September we can do it. I haven't gotten an answer.
Okay.
So
So, yeah,
if anybody
Well,
has any ideas for another space, I mean, I guess we
How
could.
about the outdoor area at the Commons?
What about doing it in our outdoor area?
like the rock garden, as they refer to it,
Yeah.
it's possible. It's
Is
free.
Is there shade there?
Well, if it's October 3rd, that might be a possibility.
If only we'd spent that money.
we've got 54,000.
That is so.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't, in the afternoon, it wouldn't be that bad, but that's, let's continue that conversation and think about that in the meantime, and for the sake of time, we'll move on. And then there's more to report, but, the one thing I want to say on the first day, and I thought this was really awesome. Kathy and Drea, who have been here for a very long time, said the first day of school this year was the best first day they've ever seen at Alden.
Wow.
Wow.
And there was it was actually remarkable.
That
So
is remarkable.
Really awesome. Really awesome. Okay.
What's attendance like on the first day being a half day on
Friday.
Yeah, it was better than it has been other days.
Better attendance?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was a better day because no one
Since
showed
then.
up.
No, attendance was great on that day. And then I think because people knew they could leave early and a lot of people did take liberty around that to leave.
So it wasn't like, let's blow this off because it's only happening. They should.
I actually showed up. Yeah, it was,
Almost in front.
it was, yeah, I was impressed by that as well. Okay, moving forward, again, more I could say here, but for the sake of time, moving forward. Every month I'm going to include a photo to represent my experience so far with, this is the metaphor of the month. Last one, if you remember, was a tangled rope.
Yeah.
As I was unfolding and finding problems that were not seen initially. Anyone have any ideas what this one is?
Yeah, loaves and fishes.
Yeah, loaves of fish. Yeah, so we have 2 fish, we have 5 loaves of bread, and we were trying to feed 5,000 people. And so that has been my experience this month. And I just wanted to, I think this is fun. And so I'm going to.
Does that mean everybody pitched in with
Every month.
more loaves and more fish?
I mean, people expected,
Banquet.
I will be cautious in my wording here. They expected a lot to occur from the limited resources.
Yes, okay.
Yes, and I'll leave it at that. And with that being said, yeah, that concludes the director's report.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you all. Sorry that much,
Thanks.
that took longer than I would like.
thanks, Will.
Good.
Let's see, committee reports. The finance committee met right before this meeting. Jackie covered most items. I think, in the interest of, well, let's see, there's some good news and bad news. The bad news is only a possibility that I want to talk about just in case it happens. The good news is that we had budgeted a cash carryover, 105,000 or so, and it looks like it's more like 160. I think you all heard that already. Although I can't remember what was discussed this meeting, what was discussed finance committee. But that was a nice bonus. The potential bad news is we might be denied for reimbursement requests that happened at the very beginning of July for federal programs that total about $50,000 for technical reasons. If it happens, I think we'll go into more depth as to why it happened and what will prevent it. But since we are waiting to hear back a final decision, I don't think there's any reason to go into the causes.
Okay.
But I wanted you to know that that's a possibility. I don't think the finance committee discussed anything else that you all haven't already been told by Jackie.
Just the fact that we might change the finance committee time to Wednesday
Right?
before GC meeting.
You hear that, Alex? That affects you. Are you?
Did you hear what I said, Alex?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I thought there was another committee that I was gonna mention, but maybe that was your discussion of facilities. I think we already got it.
Or Alex might speak to SAC. Do you want to report? You want to report on SAC?
Sure. The only thing that we haven't said is that we decided to unmerge SAC and resource development. We had just merged, we had merged it last year, but now we're down to like 4 members. We had a massive outflow of human resources. And so it's essentially, I read what the development committee is supposed to do, and we're basically handing it off to the foundation, because the foundation is well suited. They have a lot of people, a lot of engaged folks. I think they can handle that piece of the puzzle. And we don't, and the SAC committee can't do it. We don't have enough people.
Thanks, Alex.
Mhm.
Appreciate you being on that.
Sure.
This is not a committee report.
Oh,
but it's related to committee
sorry.
reports. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
I'm trying to recruit Javier Marufo to be on the board.
Nice. This is a nominating committee report.
Yeah, exactly. The committee of one, nominating committee. Yes, that was it. That's the report.
Well, you say you're trying to. Have you already spoken with them?
Yeah.
That's great. That would be awesome.
Great.
Javier's curator at the Silver City Museum, if y'all don't know.
He works a lot with oral histories.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's
Great.
great. He's great for sure.
And his sister has worked with us before, many, many years.
The last piece I wanted to say on the committee reports is that We have some equity committee members acting as Aldo proxy representatives at the Yazzie Martinez community meeting that is occurring, just wrapped up,
Hmm.
down at the convention center. And that is a significant legal case that has implications for all of New Mexico education. And while we are all here, we have equity council people there.
Who ended up going?
Going is Jennifer Lepisco, Joshua Rex, and Deandra Medina.
Excellent.
So it's a good representation of
Yeah.
of special ed. Yes, and I don't think Ray Prestor was considering, I'm not sure that I wound up happening. I was trying to get someone from high school, someone from middle school, and someone from special ed to go. And have all equity council stuff, so that's that.
That's great. Well done. Anybody know of any other committee business? We're gonna review committee membership coming up, but other than that,
I was just looking at committees that maybe I've met. Did risk management meet?
This meeting Tuesday. at the end of the
Okay.
month, Yeah.
And did Shack meet? Student health, whatever, SHA.
I don't know.
Okay,
This month I did not send out my pre-meeting email that I traditionally send out to all the chairs asking
okay,
if they met.
okay.
This month I was doing other stuff.
No, that's okay. I just have that. I put them all on my Google calendar, so I know when they are. And then I just have to remember which ones I'm supposed to go to, which are none of those, I don't think.
We have you, I have you somewhere. Just lost that piece. But all right, so if we move on to old business, we have an action item to approve or not the wireless communication policy. Our hands are somewhat tied. It's in the student handbook, is it not?
It's in the student handbook.
I would move to approve the policy as written.
I second. I think we had plenty of time to discuss it at the last meeting.
Is there any further discussion?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the motion?
The motion is to approve the wireless communication policy as it is written in the student handbook.
Okay, thanks.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm abstaining because I don't know what it says.
Aye. Okay, we have 4-0 with one abstention. Secretary has recorded this. All right. Okay. We have a new governing council member. And I went through and found I promised the old list of governing council members. I've updated as best I can, but I don't know all the committee memberships, and I don't have any for Aaron. So let me read what I have. I'm on finance, audit, and policy. Alex, you're on finance and SAC.
Correct.
Jim, you're on risk management and facilities.
Correct.
Tanya, curriculum and something else at least. You might have even tried to sign up for 3.
I probably did, hold please, it's Equity Council.
Equity. And we talked you out of 3, I think,
Yes,
as I recall.
yep.
So, good. Excellent. Thank you
Good,
for putting this up here.
Go with
Aaron,
there.
do you have any predispositions?
I'm interested in Shack and risk management.
And
I'm
let's
also interested in
find out.
That's awesome.
There it is. So risk management, again, has Jim, but certainly could have a second member.
It's a good committee.
Can we go down the Shack?
Check's on the right side.
Yep, no one from the governing council is on there yet. Is that what SC is supposed to say?
Student council.
Oh,
And once they'll choose when they do their thing.
do we have anything else with nobody?
So we should highlight GC to
It
make.
does say GC.
Policy, Harry.
Facilities, Jim, equity, Tanya. Audit has Alex and Harry. Oh, Alex, are you still on audit?
I have never been to an audit meeting. I was put on there as a placeholder. I don't need to be on that committee. I don't bring any value to that committee.
What is restorative practice?
It's not really a governing council committee, is it?
No,
That's a staff committee.
yeah, if you'd like to join, you can, but
It's,
Okay, let's
Are you
figure out
familiar
the
with
audit question first, though.
some philosophy? of-
well,
I think everybody's like.
sorry, hang on, Alex.
Practices, but is that not?
It's
Or like
it's in the
conflict
same field.
resolution?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So did you find any others? I just want the whole picture
I
before
just
we,
want to make sure Alex can see this also. Okay, now Alex should be able to see the screen. Everyone should be able to see this.
okay, I think that's all of them. So,
I mean,
I would happily put you down for Shaq, if you're up for that. How would you feel about the audit committee? You'd bring a lot of value.
Say more.
Well, the more I will say is that it's an extraordinarily low level of commitment compared to any other committee listed there. You participate in 2 Zoom phone calls every year, and most years, 1 other one, but not all years. Those Zoom phone calls are about half an hour each, and you have almost nothing to do for 9 months of the year. Having said that, somehow Alex has avoided attending even one of our meetings.
I just got put on the committee like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Well, there's only been 1 meeting for you to miss.
That's right, so.
Yeah.
Can I-
We have to have 2 members by law.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll stay on it. It seems like,
Aaron, okay, only do that if Aaron wants something different, so wants a second one somewhere else.
well, she doesn't, yeah, okay,
She's contemplating.
okay.
Might be hard to see her contemplating through the eyes of the owl.
Well, when we finish with this, can you download a copy and then so that we can upload it into our GC folder?
Sure.
Very good.
Do I need to decide this right now?
No, but the audit committee will be meeting again before next governing council meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I can join that.
Yeah,
I do that if Alex is not.
Don't feel
Well, you can
pressured.
hear her
It's not a used car deal.
abundant enthusiasm.
And is this appropriate to have Shaq did I hear that correctly? Or is that,
I think that would be a good placement for
should I
you.
peel that off that? Is that okay?
Risk management less so because you're already on it, Jim, right?
There is no prohibition about having 3 assignments, especially if one of them is audit.
Okay.
Do you also want,
Sorry, I'm just.
Yeah, no, let me know
looking at
what I can do.
agents.
They're mostly Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4.
Okay. Well, I can do audit for a good time.
so audit and Shaq? Okay. You can also add down the road.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Alex, you happy?
As happy as I can be.
All right. New business. The only items of new business are these 3 bars. Does anybody want to discuss one of these bars separate from the others? Then I would entertain a motion to approve all 3 bars, please.
Second.
No, I didn't make a motion. Being the chair, I prefer
Oh,
not to.
I'm sorry.
Entertaining a motion. Sorry.
So moved.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That's all you have to say. Jim, would you like to second now?
I would.
Beautiful. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve all 3 bars as presented. Any discussion?
Okay, you sort it out.
Yeah.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and aye. They pass unanimously.
It's okay.
You have to repair it.
No, it's
I
fine.
apologize in advance.
So, normally I have an item here for GC input, which I forgot to add. I have only one thing that I want to add before adjourning, which is I can't remember how to access the Google Drive, the OneDrive.
Oh, okay.
And I have OneDrive. I even have it open at the moment.
Well, we could do it right here. Do you have,
I can,
or we can do it
I want to do it on my
Oh,
phone,
on your
but
phone, I don't know.
what do I tell it? It knows I'm this email address, aldocs.org.
Mhm.
How do I convince it that I should have more things here than I have?
What do you see right now?
I see my files.
Okay, so we need to.
I'm sorry, goodbye, everyone. I gotta
Oh,
run.
Bye.
You're clear on what I
See you,
thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it a lot. Thank
So
you.
I think we can go to.
And I want to make this general. I don't know if Aaron also needs to know how to join it.
I do not know how, I'm also.
Let me send another invitation to your email.
That would, well, I could probably look for it.
Yeah, look for in your email, there's
See,
an invitation to something called a SharePoint, probably.
Sure.
Did you
That
send
sounds
them
right.
to me
I
for
think
the
so.
Aldo CS?
I think I sent it to everybody through the Aldo CS.
Oh, look at that. It says I've joined it.
And so then you have to get into the SharePoint app,
Oh, I don't use OneDrive?
or you can do it through OneDrive. I can show you what I see. I don't do it on my phone, is the thing, so I'm not. Let me see if I can log into my computer first.
I probably shouldn't have added this to the meeting.
I've seen it. It's sorry, my computer is,
I'll find a groups mode in your folders.
May I recommend that we
Yeah.
adjourn the meeting,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
please.
you're right, Jim.
just in case there's somebody
Mhm.
watching? It's
It's
pretty
a really good
boring.
point. At 7:40,